Everything in our family changed in an instant. I still remember that evening when my daughter, Katya, sitting at the computer, suddenly turned to me and whispered, "Mom, you have to see this." Her voice trembled, her eyes wide with fear and anger. The email page of my husband, her father, flashed on the screen. And there lay the truth that would destroy our home. It turned out that my husband, the one I trusted more than anyone in the world, had stolen money from our daughter's bank account. We had saved those 5 million rubles for years for her future, for her studies abroad, for her dreams. But instead, he transferred it all to another woman. A mistress. I couldn't believe my eyes. Everything inside me was shattered. My heart sank with betrayal. But the worst thing wasn't the betrayal, but the fact that he had taken away her daughter's hope. "Our money, Mom," she said through tears. I wanted to scream, but for her sake, I couldn't hold myself back. She was just a teenager, but that evening she showed more courage and bravery than many adults. The next day, I called my husband and demanded an explanation. He denied everything, swearing it was a mistake, but we had proof. Screenshots of transfers, letters, photos. "How could you do this? You stole your own daughter's future." He was silent, and that silence was more terrifying than any dictionary. Katya locked herself in her room and barely came out for 3 days. She felt betrayed not only as a daughter, but also as a family member. Her eyes reflected a maturity beyond her years. I knew that if we gave up, he would win. First, we contacted the bank and filed a claim. Katya helped me with the documents, gathered information, and spoke with lawyers. I looked at her and understood. This was the moment my little girl was becoming a strong person. School and friends noticed these changes. She became more isolated, but also more focused. We faced another challenge, pressure from her husband. He tried to return home, threatening to sue. But we had evidence. Every day, we lived in fear of new blows. I sometimes found Katya crying into her pillow at night, and my heart broke. But in the morning, she would sit down at her laptop again and say, "We have to finish this. I won't let him break my dream." Months of struggle had exhausted us, but our feet had become stronger. Finally, the court sided with us. We managed to get some of the money back. Not all of it, but it was enough for Katya to continue on her path to her goal. And then something happened that changed her fate. Teachers and friends learned of her story. They helped us find a scholarship program. Katya gave numerous interviews, and thanks to her knowledge and indomitable courage, she received a grant. She went to study in Europe, just as she had dreamed. The day she left, she came to me, hugged me, and said, "Mom, if it hadn't been for that terrible evening, I probably would never have become so strong." I realized you can't trust the promises of others. You have to make your own life. I watched her go and cried. Not with pain, but with pride. This story taught us something important. Even when those closest to you betray you, it's not the end. If you have the courage not to give up, it can be the beginning of a new journey. Katya showed me and everyone around her that a teenager is capable of fighting for justice and winning where adults are willing to give up. And I realized that sometimes betrayal isn't a full stop, but a comma. Afterward, a new, stronger, and more honest phase of life begins. Don't let someone else's greed and betrayal rob you of your future. If we believe in ourselves and keep fighting, whatever we lose can come back in some other form. Even through pain, we can move forward and create the life of our dreams.